This is the weird writing and reading experiment. Now, before you get a bit upset with me and think, hi, Dr. Mark, this is supposed to be all science experiments, let me just remind you, language and the way we use language and the way our brain processes it, that is science. In fact, lots would tell you that linguistics is a science as much as it is anything else, okay? So, that's that clear. I'm going to ask you in a minute to read something. I've got it written down in front of me, but you can't see that, and I don't want to hold it up to the camera. It won't look very good. We're going to, just in a few seconds, show you some text we want you to read as fast as you possibly can, okay? So don't delay it. Imagine almost like this is a speed reading competition. Just read it fast. You can do it in your head. That's okay. You haven't got to read it out loud. The writing we're going to show you is a bit too much, I think, to fit on one screen. So what we're probably going to do is scroll the screen slowly, a bit like some you see on film sometimes when they scroll the credits up at the end. So we're going to scroll the writing up so you actually can read it all, okay? So when as soon as you see it, you can start doing it in your head. We're going to scroll it slowly enough that you should be able to read it with no problem, okay? And let's see what you find out. Ready? Off you go. Well, I think you've any luck already figured this one out because it explained it to you, wasn't it? Totally weird. Most of you, I'm sure, found, particularly once you got into it, you had no trouble reading it. Most people don't. You see what appears to be, your first impression is this sort of gobbledygook, written all misspelled and everything else, but almost instantly you can read it. It's totally weird, isn't it? You read through it really easily. Now what we're going to do, just in case you didn't quite get it all, we're going to have it back up on screen any second, and this time we're going to write it properly. So we're going to still scroll it up a bit like the credits on a movie, but we're going to have it written properly just to make sure you did actually get it. Ready? And while it's coming up, I'll read it out loud as well, just in case you want to shut your eyes and have a think about it. Okay, so it's going to come up now. Now what you should have read was, the amazing power of the human mind. I couldn't believe that I could actually understand what I was reading. According to researchers at Cambridge University, it doesn't really matter that much in what order the letters of a familiar word are. The only really important thing is that the first and last letters be in the right place. The rest can be totally mixed around and you can still read the word without too much of a problem. The researchers think this is because the human mind does not read every letter by itself, but the word as a whole. You also read each word as it links with other words each side in the rest of the sentence. Amazing, eh? So really, we've done the explanation as well. But I would add one more thing. Think about it. It also explains, I think, how when you do your own writing and you read, because I write as well, of course, I write books, but when you read what you've written, quite often you won't spot your own spelling mistakes in a word, particularly if it's about right or if you've just swapped letters around, which I do sometimes. I don't get all my spelling right, sometimes I get it wrong. Even when I type it, before I do a spell check on a computer, I will miss it. And that's why, because your brain is doing the same thing there. Amazing. So what variables could we have here? Well, remember when I said read it to yourself, I said just do it in your head and read it as quick as you can. Remember, I said imagine it's a speed reading competition. Now what's really weird, I don't know if you noticed this, I'm just going to mention this now. Did you notice, I certainly thought this, when I first done it and I read it really fast, as I was scan reading it, it actually looked to me like the words were spelt properly. I was reading it really quickly, and in a funny sort of way, they looked like they were properly spelt until I actually concentrated. But here's one thing, how about reading it slowly out loud and see if you notice any differences? An obvious other one thing you could do is actually, why don't you write your own paragraph of writing? Write something that actually makes sense, of course, because that's part of the thing, isn't it? It's got to make sense. Remember that in the explanation, if it makes sense with the other words around it. So write a properly constructed paragraph. Do it properly. We're writing good language here, good English, and do the same thing again. And see if you can write yours, and then mix up letters. I actually suggest write it properly first in proper spelling, just because you want to make sure you do get it right, and then deliberately copy it out underneath, say, and deliberately mix the words up. But remember the rule, the first and last letters do need to be in the same place, okay? And obviously, words with only a couple of letters in, you're going to have a bit of a problem with that one, because you can't really swap them around, can you? So a word like buy will always be buy, but a word with 3 or more letters, you can swap things around, or rather 4, because you can't even swap 3, can you? Because the middle one will always be in the middle, so 4 letters or more, you can swap the middle ones, can't you? But anyway, have some fun with it.
Oh no!